No, probably not. But there have been some minor rumblings about Nier in the recent months, so I just want to go over those tidbits as we head into Summer Games Fest, and then I want to talk about what I'd like to see from a sequel. And if I'm right and we get a reveal, then you have to come back to the video and like and subscribe. But let's get into the scraps of news. If we head over to the Nier Twitter account, we see that they've posted, Nier Automata has shipped and digitally sold over 10 million copies worldwide. Glory to mankind, with this beautiful artwork here. And then going over to the Square Enix YouTube channel, we find a video celebrating the 10 million sales. The video goes through the various releases of Automata and just sort of celebrates the different things that they've done with the game over the last 10 years. But then at the end, we see Nier Automata to be continued. So it's about time after almost a decade of this game being out. We do know that Yoko Taro has made comments about canceled projects in the past, so we don't know exactly what their development timeline has been like, but it is about time for a new game at this point. And we see that Geoff Keighley reposted the Nier Automata to be continued on Twitter, so is it possible that we get a reveal of the game at Summer Games Fest with a possible release on the 10th anniversary? Because we all know that Geoff would never, ever overhype something, right? Right?
You know, sometimes our last reveal at the Game Awards is a teaser for something years and years away. Not tonight. Our final world premiere comes from 61 members of the team that built Apex Legends and Titanfall. They've done it in complete secrecy, which is even more amazing because the game is very deep into development. And so tonight, you're not only going to get the announcement of the game, but also your first look at the gameplay. I've played it, and after you see this trailer, I think you're going to want to as well. Welcome to Highguard.
Alright, so what I want from a sequel. Number one, I would love to see graphical upgrades. I'm not a graphics snob, but Automata did kind of have the Dark Souls thing going on, where it's got beautiful art design, the world looks wonderful, but if you really look at it with a fine-tooth comb, does not look great. Some of those things were just kind of jarring to me, and things like the invisible walls everywhere, that stuff really does put a hamper on the experience to me, so if they could eliminate some of that stuff going forward, that would be great. I'd also like better UI navigation. I do not enjoy a lot of the menus and the general game systems, really. Like, I love the world of Nier, I love the story, but playing the game sometimes, and not the combat, I love the feel of the combat and everything, of course, it's super smooth, but I just don't enjoy, man, playing that. So I have endings A through Z done, and that was such a slog. Like, I loved the game, but doing that was, by the end, I was extremely done with the game, and I haven't even played Replicant yet, and that's pretty much because of my experience with Automata, and I loved my experience with Automata, but by the end it was just, it got to be too much. The constantly going into the menus, and if you needed to get one ending or a certain side quest done that you had missed or something, it was a lot of finicky stuff. And granted, I'm talking about technically completing the game over 20 times, so I feel like any game's going to get finicky at that point, but yeah, I would just like to see some improvements there. Another thing that I did not enjoy was the leveling, the enemy scaling, any of that stuff, really. The upgrades, I really, like I said, I'm a fan of the world and everything, but a lot of the game systems I'm truly not a fan of. I think as you get into the higher levels of the game, it starts to fall apart. Like, you can one-tap everybody, and if you play on very hard, they can one-tap you, but it's not fun, in my opinion. I don't like that instant death, you know, getting hit once. I'm not a fan of that. Another thing I would like to see improved for sure, we need a vast improvement here, the music. No, I'm just kidding. So in terms of story content, 2B, A2, 9S are seemingly saved by the pods in ending E, so you know, they have a lot of wiggle room with where they could go from here. You know, they no longer have to serve humanity or anything like that, so they're kind of just in their free will era, I guess. Do you think we're going to see some kind of time jump? There could be a rebuilding of some kind of android society, perhaps? Maybe that's how, maybe we start off in sort of a happier place for the androids, and then we see the crumbling of that, because there's no way this is going to be just a happy-go-lucky story. mean, there's no reason to even really think that. Are we going to see any kind of aliens or anything like that? I don't think so. I think it's really just going to be focused on what is the meaning of life when life doesn't exist anymore, man. Like, you know, I think that's kind of an interesting take on the typical question that everybody's asking of what does life mean. And, you know, obviously Automata tackled all of this stuff, but I think it could be really neat to see what they do now, because I guess they're really free to do whatever the fuck they want. So yeah, I don't really have a whole lot more to say on it. We don't even really know if this is going to be an actual game or if it's just going to be a Roblox insert of 2B. We'll see, you know. It could really be anything. I'd like to think that for the 10th anniversary, it'd be a game. 10 million copies sold is a lot, so there is a market there, so they definitely could do something with this. I think it will sell. I don't think it's just going to be Nier Automata 2, because I don't think that works as well as something that stands on its own, because there are a lot of people who obviously know of 2B, but they haven't played the game, and they are not going to go back and play the game. But yeah, if they could frame this as a way for new fans to come in, I think that would be the smartest way to do it, and that's what most things do these days. So yeah, I'm all for an Automata 2. I think that would be cool, but I don't want them to step on the toes of that game either. But yeah, let's see. I'm excited either way. Aki's excited too. Come here. So yeah, Aki's excited. I'm excited. I want to see a new Nier game. That's pretty much all I really have to say about it. Anything you want to say? Any closing remarks, Aki? For sure. See ya.
Say, did we manage to help?
You did.